Peace, 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 peace. So this piece here, right now, this piece here now, breathing in fresh air, inhaling and exhaling softly. So with this video, I want you to first think about the time in your life where you felt the most peaceful. When were your body was at ease, you were relaxed and probably being exactly who you are. If you can't really remember, then think about yourself, walking on a beach in Hawaii with, someone you love, and, it's sunset, and there's literally peace everywhere. The waves, the volcano in the background, all of the plants. It's very green and lush and tropical, and the beautiful smell of the ocean. Also, when you're walking along the beach, and then also your feet, right? You're barefoot in this beautiful white sand that feels lovely on the bottom of your feet. And there's nothing that could take you away from that peace at that moment. So I'm saying that peace because that peace is also this piece right here, right now. So oftentimes we think that peace is, a time and place either in the past or the future. That's something that, I want to go back to that, that beach in Cancun where I felt very peaceful. Or you're working hard right now at your 9 to 5 job to get that vacation, that 2-week vacation, after COVID-19, where, you're going to be on the beach and be very peaceful. Okay. This kind of peace has an opposite, which is not peaceful. So stress, sickness, anger. So that would be the opposite of that peace, the peace of attempting and trying to go to peace, and that peace is not here right now in that mindset, in that mentality. But what we're saying here is this peace. So this is a profound word, actually, because this is the pointer to the non-dual ultimate reality. It's one of the best words to describe your true nature of infinite peace, infinite being, the infinite self with a capital S, who you've always been. And that is here for this piece right here, right now. So bringing that piece of the beach into your environment here and now, this life, this moment, this body, this perception, this breath, this word, this video. We want to be here now, not in the future or in the past, like I said. True peace, which does not have an opposite. Okay, so that means it's always infinitely here. It does not have an opposite. Always infinitely here. So that's actually a very bold statement, saying that there is no opposite to peace with a capital P. There's no opposite to that. because that argues that all of life is inherently peaceful. Everything about life is peaceful, even the good, the bad, and the ugly, no matter what. So this existence is inherently peaceful. That means there's a background of peace as you walk down the street. I was walking to the grocery store today. In Minnesota, it's been cold even here in April, which is kind of frustrating because, you know, we Minnesotans, we want summer to start after, 8 months of winter. we So I walked to the grocery store today, and I was just noticing the peacefulness on the sidewalk as I was walking. I noticed the birds chirping. I noticed the squirrels, the children, the grass. The grass is getting greener, which is kind of unexplainably beautiful for me because of the long winter. In Minnesota, it's in early October when the leaves start to fall, and um, winter can be a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time. It really, really is. I love winter because it's extremely, extremely peaceful. But it's these times here in April that you just have that desire to feel the peace outdoors, not have the coziness of winter indoors. So that's that peace. But the peace that we have, this peace here now, is all that is what we have. It's what is given to us. So none of this we can actually control. None of the circumstances that we're in, not even us. We can't even control ourselves. If you really are really, really mindful of your actions and how you process and go about your daily life, I've been noticing how fast I go through life. I literally just noticed that little bit by little bit, I'm starting to catch myself overthinking and catching myself going too fast. So even like drinking slower, eating slower, walking slower, breathing slower. It's with this slow pace that we are in touch with this peace. Instead of having it be an idea like peace, oh yes, that beach in Hawaii. I mean, a lot of us have photos. Like me, I have photos of Ecuador or a painting. My mom painted Ecuador and then Canada, Banff, Canada. So I have beautiful scenes that are paintings. But basically, it's a depiction of a peaceful thing. But the idea is that is here. It's in my heart. It's in my body. It's in my breath. Literally, I can't get out of it. So if this is all that exists, this consciousness, this aliveness, this awareness, this being, this self, if that's all there is, you can't get outside of it. Okay, so this piece, again, I'm saying, is inherently peaceful. And instead of the idea, like I said, of having paintings, representing peace does not need to be represented, right? When we are absolutely living as peace and not having an option, not having a different option of not peaceful. So not peaceful is not even possible. So that sounds like a big challenge, right? Because oftentimes, like I said, we go through life too fast. Also, we have suffering. So how do we feel the peace during these times of suffering? Well, the idea is really diving into the suffering and going all of the way to the end of the tunnel of suffering. And you can know that this is possible when you think about in your life that you've suffered so many times, right? You've had these bouts of suffering, but think about it right now, and you feel the peace right now. And even when you think about your past, from right here, right now, you're thinking about your past, and actually, it's full of peace. It's like the peace is the underlying principle of your past. Um, it's almost like the suffering, someone else or something else was the thing that suffered. Something else, someone else, that as an idea that seems like you, right? Like yeah, Kyle suffered in the past, but we're no longer that idea. We've never been that idea. It's just an idea. It's an idea that we have in our heads of past events. Because where are they now? They are here as an idea of suffering. So what you feel now is not an idea. So I want you to be honest. So for me, I'm going to sit here and be honest with what is here. What is this? What is this? So even instead of before claiming that this is peace or that this is this peace, we need to start with an honest, be like scientists of the moment and be like, okay, let's explore, let's investigate what is here now in this with a capital T. So, what do I feel? What do you feel here in this moment? You know, I feel a little bit stress in my voice for talking too much. A little bit of stress in kind of my throat area, right? So is there a way that I can relax my throat area? Well, that's kind of easy because in yoga they talk about relaxing the throat chakra, which is behind, it's the back of the neck, right? So what we can do with a throat that seems to be like hurting or just holding stress is to be there. Is to notice that that is this. The stress in my throat is this. So we put awareness there, and by simply being with our awareness, we notice the peacefulness of it. We notice that we don't need to have that resistance. So, what I feel in my throat is a little bit of resistance, okay, or in my face, right? My cheeks. How can I relax and be more peaceful in my face area? Well, as I put awareness there, it's natural to relax and want relaxation. So as we put awareness there, it seems to be like a simultaneously an expansion of the energy there, but also kind of a release into peace in these parts of what I perceive as my body. Okay. So where for you do you feel a little bit of tightness or tension that is probably there from being unconscious or unaware. So for me, like when I am unaware of, I'm going too fast in life, I'm not noticing, maybe I feel something in my chest or my heart area. And I noticed that there was some event during the day that kind of triggered something to tighten up in that area, in my chest or my heart area. But when I put awareness there, simply by being aware, we tend to like breathe into that space. And simply by breathing, it's natural for there to be peace there already. So it's like we don't have to put awareness there and then the peace arrives. It's like there was already that peace there. It's just that we needed to combine it with our awareness of our subjective experience. So the combination of our awareness of it and there already there being peace, because it's inherent in this, that combination, we feel is a release and a relaxing and a letting go of that, unconsciousness and that tightness. And you can do this with anywhere in your body, anywhere in your body. So to kind of practice, first, you can feel that this is peaceful. So starting with your environment. You might be outside, feeling the breeze, feeling the sun, or maybe you're at home and you feel very comfortable in your environment. Your environment is comfortable. The temperature is right. You're wearing the right clothes. You don't stink. Maybe you took a shower this morning and you're not sweaty. But really, just that buzzing silence, of the environment that you are in. Also that humid feeling, or like, it's almost like, like when you're in a tropical, like if you've ever been to a tropical place and it's like saturated and heavy with beautiful air to breathe. So just such fresh air, fresh scent. That is, you can maybe start to feel a little bit of that in your environment that you believe that you're typically in. So what tends to happen is the idea of ordinariness, or being ordinary, or doing our ordinary routine. But when we are experiencing this with awareness, you can see that it is not ordinary, because it's no longer the idea of, this is my regular house. I'm just in my regular house. I'm just doing my regular thing. Yet the idea is as you live in this without any of your normal interpretations, and you're being honest with this moment, the environment you're in becomes alive instead of the deadness. So deadness is just an idea. It's just an idea. The deadness of the environment that you're in is just an idea. When you're very honest and you sit in this, you begin to feel the peacefulness of your environment. Even if people around you are being loud. I also walked to a place called the Arb, obviously with all the trees, this morning, and I usually do that for like a mid-morning walk, just to get fresh air and there was construction going on campus, and I was just kind of thinking, man, like I just experienced all that peace with the trees. Um, but then I get back on campus and there's just it's like humans are like rattling around and just like making noise, they're doing their business. You know, it's basically the economy is busyness. So business is just busyness. And in busyness, like I was mentioning, we're often not, 99% of the time, we're not being mindful of that. And mindfulness is actually, it seems very like kind of woo woo or easy or like, yeah, it's not that important. People actually make fun of mindfulness sometimes. I tried to, start mindfulness club at school, and people I heard, would just kind of say, "Oh yeah, mindfulness seems kind of high class or something," like. But mindfulness is the tool to realize and reconnect with that original piece that's already there. So even like when you're in school and it seems like things are just, everybody's moving too fast, and there's also that sense of deadness in school a lot, especially with students not wanting to be there in the first place. Sometimes teachers not wanting to be there. That adds to that environment of deadness. Now, but what I can say as a teacher is that when I hone my ability of mindfulness, at the beginning of the year, I was very, very busy getting the year started because I was a first year teacher. But so I was much less mindful than what I have been this semester in the spring, especially with COVID-19. But I'm talking about being in school. Even while I'm like giving directions, all right, guys, take out a piece of paper. It's like I feel this aliveness of the environment. Even if the students have that face of like, I don't want to be here. When is the bell gonna ring? And I'm also looking at the clock like, okay, when is this class going to be done? But then you realize and you take a breath, or it's not even, you don't even need the breath when you're in that flow state. Okay, so for me, as from the perspective of the teacher, I'm in that flow state because I'm kind of doing my job that you tend to be, so people tend to be good at their job, and so when you're good at something and you've practiced it before, you're in that flow state. But oftentimes, the students are not in the flow state, but the goal is to get them in that flow state because that's when you experience like the deadness goes away, and then it's focus. It's like one pointed focus, on a task that is getting done. So the task is getting done, and you're not even noticing who is doing the task. You're not even noticing, because usually, you are an idea. You say me. But for me to be there, you have to say me. You have to like think of that first, that me-ness. You have to think of it for it to be, a reality that you exist as a separate self or as a personality or as an ego. But when you're in that flow state, it's literally this automatic, it's like your mind enters into this cloud and the cloud is doing the task. And there's really no, it's embedded with peace. But it's one thing I really wanted to say in this video was that peace, the nature of peace is actually dynamism and action. peace is even stillness. Stillness is very similar to peace. But in stillness, there's this dance and movement of, it's hard to give a word to it, but of light or energy, or you could even call it peace. Like, peace is not static. Peace is more like a verb, an action verb, piecing. And that life is always piecing through creating new opportunities to experience peace in new ways, namely through you, or what you perceive as you. And to kind of finish the school metaphor, is that deadness of school. The idea that I don't want to be there. This classroom maybe smells of BO or something. All of a sudden, when you're getting in touch with that, that natural state of flow. But if you practice your mindfulness, that flow state is nearly constant for you all the time. So think about when you are at school or at work and you're doing something that you enjoyed a good amount and that you're pretty good at. So that's that flow state. Now, how can you bring that into everyday moments, and into, like I said, the idea of ordinary? How do we get out of that idea that things are just ordinary, like forever? Can you see that ordinary life is incredibly saturated with beauty, love, and peace? Just looking in the mirror at yourself. Lately, when I've been looking at the mirror, I used to see myself as an idea, and I used to see myself in the mirror the same way every time, through judgment, namely through what's called the idealized other in psychology. I think that's what it's called. But really just looking in the mirror without that judgment, and observing. Like, I've been noticing that I've been looking at life through just my right eye. I seem to be very right eye dominant. So when I look at myself in the mirror, I automatically look at, that would be my left eye. Oh, no, my right eye, sorry. Videos and mirrors are opposite. So when I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking back at my right eye. And that's kind of how I've thought of how I have been. But all of a sudden I shifted my awareness to my left eye, and then used my left eye to look at my left eye. And it's almost like I was looking at a brand new person. It's like, I don't know who this is. And it didn't even seem like I was a person, because there was a going away from that ordinariness into amazement. So literally being amazed with your own body, or being amazed with how you interact with yourself, being amazed with how unconscious you've always been and how unconscious you are now, and excited about how, if you continue this work, you're going to open and open and open more and more. That's exciting. It's exciting because we're going to be more and more in touch with that peace. So getting away from this sense of ordinariness and into the peace. So how do we do that? Right? People are always asking, like, let's bring it into the practical realm, right? How do I, what's a practice I can do to bring this into into my ordinary experience? Well, first is to get rid of the idea that daily life is ordinary at all. To see that every moment is a gift and an opportunity for you and for me and for all of us humans to open up and invite peace into ourselves. I did a really cool meditation from Rupert Spira on YouTube. And in the meditation, you get brought out into this peaceful environment like I described for you earlier. You know, that it's not ordinary, but it's actually peaceful. Now, what you do is you invite that peace that you experience, you know, walking on the beach. If you're literally walking on the beach, bring that peace and invite it into yourself, body part by body part. Okay, so we can maybe practice a little bit here. So if you want to, you can close your eyes. You know, I tend to keep my eyes open a lot, even when meditating, but you start with the top of your head in this area, your crown chakra, or even a little bit above it. So you first get in touch with the peace in your environment. But the idea is in non-duality is there's no separation between yourself and the environment, or that is to say your body is the environment too. Your brain is that environment. Your voice is that environment. So you start by imagining that the peace, that there's no separation between that peace and the area at the top of your head. Okay, so there, some people who experience Kundalini awakenings, they literally experience that there is a liquid spiritual energy that gets dropped or poured from the top of their head through their brain area and all the way down through, you know, the remainder of their body. So it literally, every cell and every muscle in your body is going from the sense of, oh, that's just my ordinary, you know, right thigh, to now your right thigh is being saturated by spiritual liquid and spiritual peace. Basically, if you imagine that is if peace were like an oil being brought into your right thigh, but it starts through your spinal area. So you start at the top of your head, goes into your brain. So now your brain is not managed by your overthinking mind anymore. Your brain is you're inviting that peace into your brain, and you're relaxing and then allowing what seems to be foreign energy into your brain. And now you're begin to identify with that spirituality in your brain and not your just regular, ordinary me mentality. So this is the courage. This requires strength and courage to shift away from I am just an ordinary human to I am to have the courage to say that I am the peaceful space of the whole universe. Because your body is a very, very important cloud within the sky of unbounded peace. So why would there be peace everywhere except for here? If the nature of all of this is peace, why is it not in in my body or your body, because it is. It's already here. So do we have the courage to invite that into our brain? And imagining it being poured down into your face, then down into your neck area, loosening up your throat and your neck, then down into your shoulders as you relax your shoulders, and then into your chest. Your chest opens up and relaxes, and then eases the stress or pain or anxiety that you feel here in your heart. So your heart is no longer being bombarded by judgments and the feeling of not being enough. So now we're being literally, changed from inside out. Our heart is being changed from that mentality to spiritual, peaceful liquid. And as your heart is pumping, that like your blood being pumped through the rest of your body and into your gut, it gets pumped to every muscle, including your legs, your hips, your arms, your hands, your fingers, and ultimately to also outside of yourself, and seeing that you go beyond your skin too. You go beyond that original idea that I am here and the world is out there and I am not the world. We begin to feel that we are our environment and the environment is us. Because when you breathe, so as you breathe, also think about this. Where does that air come from? So I know that it's obvious to talk about it logically, right? Like, oh, I learned that in 4th grade. Oxygen comes from the cycle, the hydrogen cycle, where oxygen is in the oceans, it's in the sky. But I mean, the actual air that you're breathing, is that energy was in this quote unquote ordinary environment and then brought into your quote unquote ordinary body. But it's almost like it's magic, because where is the controller? What is controlling this whole process of breathing? Who is controlling your inhale, the quote unquote your inhale? Who is controlling the exhale? When we slow down and breathe and honestly ask, who is breathing? And get in touch with them. You kind of like let go of the breathing and it just continues to happen. And it's this process that is not being controlled by you. If you think about it, humans were invented by evolution. So we as humans are not smart enough to control ourselves. Like, that's why we don't have the controller. That's why nature or this has the controller, but not we are not smart enough. That's not our role to control life. our job is to first, learn how to survive as a human. You can do that by going to school, and maybe college, and maybe starting your job. Okay, but at some point, like for me, for example, I'm 28. I was told that, you're supposed to go to school, you're supposed to go to college, you're supposed to start a job, you know, and that Alan Watts talks about this, that at some point, you arrive there. You arrive at happiness once you have your career and you're established, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What that is, that's not happiness, that's survival. Okay. Being able to not need to worry about surviving, because here in like the United States, for example, we have enough materials where surviving is extremely easy. Like I said, I literally just walked 20 minutes to the grocery store, got everything I needed for cheap compared to like my income, and I walked it in a paper bag back to my house. I didn't make the paper bag. I didn't need to make the paper bag. Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't even think about the paper bag at all. I didn't even really cross my consciousness. But now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Somebody that I don't know made that bag for me. And now that bag, I'm going to recycle it. I'm going to put it in my recycling, bring it out to the street, and someone else is going to take that bag and bring it to the recycling center, and someone at the recycling center, so this is just a non-ending process of love, really, and peace, because we need each other in this to survive, and this need for us to mutually help each other, the need to survive, the need to live, and the need to love, that's all being supported by love with a capital L. That is the essence of the universe, of the even just simply the economy. We tend to think of the economy as money, but really it's love. It's love. So like I was saying, I'm 28. I've established myself in a lot of ways. If I compare my lifestyle with the rest of the world, if you think about it in there's 1 billion people who are essentially homeless, don't have the proper drinking water, and they don't even have enough water that's clean to wash their dishes. I'm not one of those people. I'm also not that even. I'm not even in the middle class of people from around the world, right? I'm in that top, 25% of wealthiest people in the world. But if I compare myself with other Americans that are adults, I tend to be more like in the middle or a little bit lower myself. Okay. But, luckily we have things like family and friends. What is that? Love. What is money? Love. Money is the idea or the energy that helps us to survive, thrive, and love. So I can go to the grocery store, get my food, come back, eat, and now I have an hour to do a podcast like this. This is what I love. This is what I love to do. I love to go for walks. That's what I love to do, because that is when I am most myself. And our goal here in our society is, how can we work with each other to help each other be ourselves, our true selves. So really, society is about love. Society is not about money. Society is not about making more stuff. Society is not even about jobs. The purpose of the economy is love and self-expression or soul expression, expressing your soul through this body mind that you have now. You were given yourself. You didn't create this body and this mind, your face. You were given that. So whether you think yourself as ordinary or extraordinary, we really can't control how does your voice sound. There's most of the things in your life, you just cannot control. Especially when you notice, like I said, when you have been going through life so fast, you're literally in that click, 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 click. We are like machines when we are living life so fast. When you start to be mindful and slow down, you catch yourself in that machine-like mentality. And you can step back and you begin to see like, wow, I am unconscious. It's amazing how unconscious I am. So here's an example. So in life, I can't even imagine how many acorns or beautiful plants I walked by without noticing their beauty. And just this weekend, I've literally never looked at an acorn before with such amazement. Now, this is not the exact acorn that I saw. This is a different one. I lost the original one. But the original one, I literally fell in love with it. And as soon as I saw it, I saw its beauty. I saw its potentiality. It literally made me go into myself and helped me reconnect with the fact that I'm just like the seed. The incredible potentiality of this body, this brain, unlimited. Ultimately, our bodies and minds do have limits because we're humans. But I'm saying in this lifetime, in this body, I'm becoming more and more motivated to just live out who I could become. I used to sit back and, when I couldn't sleep in high school due to depression, I would just imagine myself as an adult. Man, I'm going to be so amazing when I'm an adult. And then like college went by, and then like first couple of jobs that I had, I never got out of that mentality that like, oh, I'm going to be great in the future. Okay. But it's not until recently, the last couple of years, that I've noticed like, and this is true for all of us, by the way, but I'm just using myself as an example because for me, I'm example A. You are example B and C. So, and that's true for you. Like we're all just our own example A's. The idea is to get out of example A and see that there's life out there, like acorns, beautiful, beautiful acorns. And you're just like, why? Like actually, like honestly, like looking at this and just saying like, why does this exist like this? You might say, well, it's obvious, like that becomes a tree. But see, then you're not appreciating this piece, appreciating what is here now. So it's I guess what I am saying is that it's an idea that this is to become an oak tree. So when we talk about like that will become that, We're living in the idea of that there's this ordinary world that's going to happen in the future, and the future is just ordinary. The extraordinariness is here now, walking on, on the sidewalk, breathing in the fresh air, and seeing beautiful acorns that you've probably stepped on and not even realized that you killed a seed like this. Like literally, I couldn't put this on the sidewalk and step on it now, like because I love it. I've put when you put your awareness to things, that peace and love naturally are there. So again, when we're going so fast, we're moving too fast to notice the inherent peacefulness and love. Okay. Looks like there's no questions. Anybody who's watching, you can type in a question if you have one. Otherwise, I'm going to close this out is to return to the breath. So you can also do a mantra where on your inhale, you say peace. And on the exhale, love. Peace and love. Going away from ordinariness into the extraordinary nature of your heart, your breath, the trees around you, other people in your life. The sky, the earth, the ocean, the sun. You can even say, I love you to these things and begin to appreciate. Just the fact of saying, I love blank. I love the sun. I love my heart. I love my body. I love my eyes. I love the feeling of being myself, that sense that I am me, I love. Now, being here, your centerless center is here in your heart. Your thoughts are going to distract you. Your thoughts are going to bring you to stress and ordinariness and overthinking. But seeing that those are just a part of this beautiful oneness, beautiful non-duality and peace, this peace. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Peace.